Welcome to Rabotai. We're here on this beautiful Tuesday morning. We are studying, and before we get into our topic, we're going to study what we learned already in Masechet. Well, what some of us learned in Masechet Berachot. There is a fascinating Gemara that speaks about Shaul HaMelech. Shaul HaMelech had a father. This is before he became king. And his father lost his donkeys, and he lost his animals. And he sent Shaul. He says, Shaul, take one of my servants and go around town and find my animals. Shaul is forced to go, not forced, but he wants to fulfill what his father wants. So he goes to look for his father's animals. He looks around, and guess what? He cannot find anything for his father. You can say in the end, he goes through a different city. He's still looking for the animals he cannot find. And they're about to go home. His father said, Shaul says, let's go home. Because if we don't get home, my father's going to stop worrying about the animals. And he's going to start worrying about me. So he says, let's turn back. They turn right before they turn back, the man says, the guy who he was with, he says to him, we're in the town where the prophet is. There is a Navi, a Choseh, a Ro'eh, a seer, a person who sees. What does he see? He sees everything. Let's go to the seer, and we're going to ask him, who was the seer at the time? The Navi, Shemuel HaNavi. In the end, Shemuel HaNavi was the prophet at the time. They came to Shemuel, and what came out is that before he comes to Shemuel, he sees a bunch of young girls on the street. And him and his servant walked over to these ladies, or to these girls, and they said to them, excuse me, do you know where the Navi lives? It reminds me of when I went to visit Rav Chaim Kanievsky. Well, not exactly the same, but we were on a whim. We decided, let's go to Bnei Brak. What time is Rav Chaim Kanievsky seeing people? Until 1 o'clock. What time is it now? 12 o'clock. Do we have an appointment? No, let's go anyway. We got in the car, 45 minutes to Bnei Brak, and we're asking people, excuse me, where does Rav Chaim Kanievsky live? And they're looking at us like we're from the moon. Like, what do you want? What's wrong with, hello? How do you not know where he lives, first of all? And second of all, who are you? Looking for midnight. That was in the morning. In the afternoon, yeah. So still, in the end, we found where he lives. We parked the car. By a miracle of Hashem, we found a parking over there. It's not Fresh Meadows over there. So parking is not quite as easy. In Israel, there's a lot of buildings also. Yeah, it's very populated. And where you have buildings, good luck with parking. You're guaranteed. But that's not our topic. Shaul HaMelech is looking for who? Shemuel HaNavi, he's looking for him. He says, excuse me, do you know where I can find a prarok? And the people he asked, they started to talk to him, and the prophet's going to come right now, and he's going to make a bracha on the zevah, on the korban, and they're giving him a whole story over there. The Gemara says, I don't understand something. Rabbi Yossi HaGalili once asked Bruria a question. Bruria was a very smart lady. She was the daughter of Rabbi Hanina ben Radion, and she was the wife of Rabbi Meir. She was a very, very smart lady.
Very wealthy, no?
I don't know about wealthy. She was very, very intelligent. Smart. So once Rabbi Yossi HaGalili asked her, how do I get to Lod? And she says, Galili tipesh, or something like that. Foolish Galili. Don't speak so much to ladies. Say, very short, the way to Lod, how? 3 words. How do I get to Lod? Don't start good morning and everything else. Be to the point. She's saying to him, these ladies are speaking to Shaul, they're giving him a whole essay. Shemuel is going to come, he's going to make a bracha on the zebach, on the korban, and the whole Am is going to be waiting for him, etc. And the Gemara says, I don't understand. What is all of this? Why so long this speech? Says the Gemara, a few reasons. First reason, it's to teach you, ladies love to talk. Nashim dabraniyot hen. Ladies talk a lot. I was wondering, why would they put this answer into the Gemara? I think it's to teach us, some of us are going to get married, some of us are already married. It's to teach us a lesson that your wife has emotional needs.
Or that women are not allowed to learn Gemara.
That's the different story. But that a woman has emotional needs, dabranioten, they like to talk. They need somebody to listen, and they need to fill their emotional void. Yes? They need to fill their emotional void, and that's our job as husbands. But that's not our point, Rafi. Another answer, what was the second answer? I'm not going to say. And the third answer, the Gemara says, you should know, you come Shabbat to learn. The third answer, we learned this Gemara maybe 8 weeks ago. The third answer the Gemara gives, it's because right now the kingdom is changing. Shaul all this time.
It's always good to review.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone sent me one day.
Shemuel at this time is the prorok. And all the keys were in his hand. Shemuel made all the decisions, yes? And he's now going to give away the keys. Who's he going to give the keys to? To Shaul, the prophet, to Shaul the king, Shaul HaMelech. Because Shemuel's reign is going to be ending and Shaul's is going to be taking over, it wasn't the time yet. Hashem said a few minutes, it's ahead of schedule. So what are we going to do? We're going to make these ladies talk to you a lot, yeah? They're going to slow you down a few minutes. That way, when you come to Shemuel, it's going to be the exact time that the kingdom has to change. Says the Gemara, what's this powerful lesson you learn from here? That one kingdom does not override another kingdom. That every person who has malchut, who has kingdom, Hashem has an exact day, an exact moment, an exact hour. To that point, he's going to be the king. And no more and no less. And therefore the Gemara tells us that the ladies were speaking long to who? To Shaul, to slow him down, to speak to Shemuel, because these few minutes it was too short. Says the Gemara, another story. There was a rabbi. This Gemara is in Moed Katan. We apologize, the camera keeps moving. This Gemara is in Moed Katan. This Gemara, yes, the man in the back, we're not going to tell you his name. This Gemara is in Moed Katan on page 28, Kav Het. Misupar al Rav Ashi. I wrote these notes yesterday for myself. Yeah, Misupar al Rav Ashi. Shera'a malach hamavet bashuk. He saw the angel of death in a marketplace. Rav Ashi. Okay. Ubikesh mimenu 30 yom. And he asks the angel of death, please give me 30 days. I need lachzor al Talmudo to review his learning. The Gemara says, Ashrei mi sheba lekan. Praise is a person who comes here to Gan Eden, v'talmudo biyado, and his learning is in his hand. He knows what he learned. Not, I heard this already. I learned this already. Hashem's going to say, okay, bechavod, Harav Kaikov, you're saying shiur today in Yeshiva Shel Mala. And if you say, I heard this already, he's going to, bechavod, say the shiur. If you will not be able to say the shiur, it's going to be embarrassing. Praise is a person who's going to be able to come to Gan Eden and he's going to know what he learned. He's going to be able to say the shiur. That's why when you hear a Divrei Torah Friday night, Shabbat morning, you need to rehearse it. Go home and say it to your family. Rehearse it to your family. That way you become a v'china of saying over. That way in Gan Eden you're going to be able to say Divrei Torah also. You're not going to sit over there like, what do they want from my life? You're going to be trained already with experience to say Divrei Torah. Yes, when a person here, he listens to the shiur, he goes home, what did the rabbi say? I don't know, he made a few jokes. They were pretty funny. Yeah, okay. So again, Rav Ashi needed 30 days. On the 30th day, the angel of death, he comes early in the morning. He says to him, my kulei, shut up, sir, relax. I got the whole day. What is this over here? What does the angel of death say to him? Kadachaka ragle de Barnatan. There was another rabbi who was supposed to come in to become the chief. His name was Barnatan. And he says, his moment has come already and you're holding him back. Therefore, I have to take you to Gan Eden. I have to take you to Gan Eden. Why? Because from here says the Gemara, that you see that one kingdom never influences another kingdom. It never takes away from another kingdom, that every person has his reign. Yes, you're in a business. Yeah, and competition opens across the street. And you get nervous. What's going to be? How am I going to do it? You have to know that your time in business was already determined. To the hour, to the moment. Yes? And in Malchut Nogad b'Haverta afilu kimlo nima. There's a Gemara in Yoma on page 38, Lamed Chet. The Gemara over there says there was one family. They were the family of Aftinas. They were the only ones who knew how to do the ketoret, the spices, the spices for the Bet HaMikdash. They were the only family, and the Chachamim pressured them, teach us how to make the ketoret. No way, it's a family secret. We don't share this. We don't share our family secret. They pressured them. They said, we don't want to give you the secret because one day the Bet HaMikdash is going to be destroyed. We don't want people to make this ketoret in some other place to worship, God forbid, other things, other religions. We don't want that. Ketoret stays with our family. When the Bet HaMikdash is around, we'll make ketoret all the time. But no more Bet HaMikdash, no more ketoret. We don't need you to take our secrets to take them elsewhere. And the Chachamim pressured them. In the end, they said, you know what? They removed them from their post and they hired people from Egypt to come and to prepare the ketoret. These guys are professionals. They came, they made the spices, they put them together. But the Gemara says there was one difference. When Aftinas would make the ketoret, the column of smoke was one big nice column. It would go straight to heaven. When these Egyptian hirees would come to perform, he says it smelled the same, but the smoke would go leva prava. It wasn't the same. It wasn't the same effect. In the end, the Chachamim, they called Bet Aftinas and they said, come back to your post. They said, I don't want the post. I'm not coming back. Come back to your post. I'm not coming back to my post. They didn't want. In the end, they doubled their salary. They doubled their pay. They were getting nice, no? So the point is that they doubled the pay, and the family came back. In the end.
Don't mess up with Conan. That's you know.
In the end, it's at the end of the Amud. Look at what it says. Mikal amar Melazai, b'shimcha yikraucha. Melazai said, in your name they will call you. Uvimkomcha yoshivucha. In your place you're gonna sit. Whatever Hashem says you're gonna sit over there. Nobody can touch you. Umishelcha yitnu lecha. And from yours they're gonna give you. What's already written for you in Shamayim, they're gonna give it to you. En adam nogea b'mucha lechavero afilu kimlo nima. You cannot take away from someone else's parnasah even a hair's breadth. You cannot take away from him. Impossible. If something is his, min hashamayim, they gave it to him, he's gonna have it. If they didn't give it to him, it's not gonna be by him. So shto, and look at what Rashi says over there. Lo yid'ag adam lomar ploni yikapeh parnasati. Person should never say my competition is gonna take away my parnasah. What's gonna be with me? This is all shtuyot, right? We live with Hashem. Ki al korhach b'shimcha yikraucha. In your name they will call you lavo velashuv bimkomcha. ודיבור על מקום שלך ייתנו לך, כלומר לא משלהם ייתנו לך מתנה, שלהם נדרת בם פדרק, אלא מזונות קיבוצים לך מן השמיים. The parnasah was already written for you in Shamayim, and that parnasah you're gonna get when you're over here. It's all written already prior. So that's the idea of this Gemara. ואין מלכות, says the Gemara, משהגיע זמן המלכות ליפול ותעמוד אחרת, לא יהיה אחר זמן, כמלוא נימה. Basically Hashem has a time for each and every person. The Gemara says even a person who's in charge of the well, you have a person who's in charge of the well, even he has a certain time that he's going to be in charge of that well. When his time comes, Kaddish al Israel. Yes, so the idea is that a person should live not in a state, God forbid, of panic, but in a state of strength, in a state of understanding that everything's from Shamayim. You don't get all bent out of shape and nervous and query and everything else. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with a person. Yes? And therefore, never to falter and never to break down. In the Megillah, in chapter 4, Mordechai is telling us, Mordechai, he knows what's going on. And Rashi asks, how does Mordechai know what happened? Achashverosh and Haman, they started to exchange money. He gave him his ring. And one person knows of the secret. Who was that one person? Mordechai. He's the only one. Says Rashi, he had a dream. Mordechai had a dream and they showed him in his dream everything that took place and the decree that took place. And right afterwards, they made letters, Haman and Ahashverosh. And Mordechai, he calls for Esther. Let's read it inside. Here. Mordechai had kol asher na'asa, vayikra Mordechai et begadav. Mordechai ripped his clothing. Vayilbash sak va'efer, vayetze betoch ha'ir, vayiz'ak ze'aka gedola umara. He starts to scream in the city, Rabotai, do teshuvah. There's a decree against Am Yisrael. And he comes close to the palace because he cannot come too close to the palace, to the entrance of the city of the king. Why? Because he's wearing sackcloth, he's wearing ripped clothing. It's not appropriate. The Jewish people started to fast. They started to have avelut, mourning, and the ladies of Esther, the helpers of Esther, came to her and they said to her, listen, Mordechai is behaving very strangely and there's a problem in the streets and there's edicts against our people. She became very scared. The Gemara says she sends people to Mordechai to change his clothing. She gave him Hugo Boss. Go put on Hugo Boss, come to the palace, I want to talk to you. Mordechai says, I'm not putting it on. I'm going to continue to wear his ripped clothing. So what did she do? Vatikra Esther lehatach. She calls Hatach. Who was Hatach? The Gemara says Hatach was Daniel. This is Daniel. She says, go speak to Mordechai. Hatach goes to speak to Mordechai. He says, look at what's going on. All the money he gave him and everything else. He shows him the paper. Hatach goes to Esther. And Esther, she doesn't know what to do. What am I going to do? If I go in front of Ahashverosh, he's going to kill me. This guy's a kook. He's not normal, this guy. Every day he has a new wife, and he's just not normal, this guy. Can't talk to him. He's like a lion. He's an animal. Yeah, but Esther was punished, by the way, for calling him a dog. ויבוא התך ויגד לאסתר את דברי מרדכי ותאמר אסתר להתך ותסבב אל מרדכי. She said, look, if I go inside of him without permission, אחת דתו להמית. Right away, cut his head off. לבד מאשר הושיט לו המלך את שרביט הזהב. Except for the one who the king stretches out his staff, his golden staff. Yeah, he's the only one who could come. And 30 days I didn't see him already. 30 days I didn't see the king. ויגידו למרדכי דברי אסתר. And look at what Mordechai says. He says to her, listen to a powerful lesson. אל תדמי בנפשך. Don't be quiet at this time. להימלט בית המלך. To prevent yourself from going to the house of the king. מכל היהודים. כי אם אחרי שתחרישי בעת הזאת. If you stay quiet at this time, רווח והצלה יעמוד ליהודים במקום אחר. The Jewish people are going to have their salvation anyway. ואת ובית אביך תאבדו. You and your father's house are going to be destroyed. You're going to disappear. Why? God put you into the palace for a reason. Every person has to ask himself, where am I in my life? I'm there for a reason. These are my brothers, these are my cousins, this is my nephew, this is my blah, blah, blah. You're in a situation for a reason. And if you don't utilize your skill, your power, your influence in that place, Hashem says, I have no purpose for you. Instead, you were put in the palace for a reason. Go say something to Ahashverosh. Don't worry about your own skin. If you're not going to do what you have to, we're going to get salvation anyway from somewhere else. God is going to get done what he needs to get done. Anyway, we're going to get saved. But you are going to be deleted from history for all of time. Why? Because you didn't act. Lech. So then she says to him, okay, I accept. I'm going to go. Gather all of the Jewish people that are in Shushan and let them fast for 3 days. אל תאכלו ואל תשתו 3 ימים. לילה ויום. 72-hour ta'anit. No eating. וגם אני ולערותו יצום כן ובכן אבוא אל המלך. And I'm going to go to the king. לא חדד וכאשר עבדתי עבדתי. I will be lost for you forever. Why? She was the wife of Ahashverosh. She was the wife of Mordechai. And she went, not with her will, she was against her will to be with Ahashverosh. But now she's going willfully to Ahashverosh, and therefore she's going to lose her privilege to be the wife of Mordechai. So, Mordechai did what Esther wanted. He gathered the Jewish people, and this is the secret to our power. You want to get rid of your enemies, you always have to work with Achdut, unity. Achdut means it's not only what's good for me, how I can profit from the situation. Yes, rather it means how we can profit from the situation, how it's good for a community as a whole. Maybe I can serve as a need for a community. There is a beautiful klal we learn in one of the 13 principles. Yeah? He doesn't go out just for himself. Rather, he goes to teach. He goes out to teach on the whole klal. So to us, you're unique in your own way. Yes? Don't think your uniqueness is for yourself. Rather, it's for the whole klal. It's to be melamed on the whole klal. And therefore, we have to make sure that we're serving somehow the Jewish people, that we're making ourselves available to the Jewish people, to elevate the Keren HaTorah, V'yirat Shamayim, to make sure that I use my skills somehow to serve Hashem. And when we do that, then there's Revach V'Hatzalah, there is salvation, there is abundance, and Yehi Ratzon that we shall experience the coming of Mashiach. B'meira b'yameinu, Amen. Mr. Abi.